What kind, boy?
Oh, we got Patrick CC, the most controversial chef.
If you
in America.
Googled celebrity chef Guy Fieri's name in 2009, the recommended searches prove that people were trying to find anything to confirm their suspicion that he is actually as horrible as his image indicates. His spiky blonde hair, tacky fashion sense, and corny catchphrases made culinary fans and professionals around the world despise him. And as his opposition scoured the internet to indulge in anti-Guy content, many of them arrived at a gossip blog called Food Network Humor, which was owned and operated by Guy's #1 hater, Jillian Madison. Madison could be credited with amplifying the Guy Fieri hate to scorching hot levels. She once said, "Fieri is an obnoxious bearded troll of a man, and the sound of him moaning while he's shoving unidentifiable haunches of meat into his mouth makes me die inside." People on her blog were actively preying on Guy's downfall. I can hardly wait till he gets caught in a scandal with some troll op he met while filming Triple D. You know it's only a matter of time. But this was not a small movement. Thousands of tweets were posted every day criticizing the celebrity chef. I challenge you to name a person worse than Guy Fieri.
This was just
criticizing the celebrity chef. I challenge you.
What the fuck is this all?
You to name a person worse than Guy Fieri. Guy Fieri is proof that Ed Hardy has started manufacturing actual human beings. I wish I could scalp Guy Fieri with his own cooking knives. What could Guy have I wish I could scalp Guy Fieri with his own cooking knives. What could Guy have possibly done to make these people so angry? The resounding hate reached a tipping point around 2011 when the entire industry joined forces to take down the Fieri empire. Many feel that the overwhelming hatred for Guy was unfair. Then again, there actually are some suspicious allegations that we will take a deeper look at. And while the general public felt that Guy is this obnoxious man-child desperate for attention, he actually never wanted to be on TV in the first place.
My buddies were hammering me, dude, you gotta see this show. It's called The Next Food Network Star. You gotta be on this. I'm like, dude, I don't have to be. I don't wait in line. I don't sign up for things. I don't enter contests. One of my buddies, Mustard, was in town. So Mustard says, hey, dude, you gotta turn that tape in. That Food Network thing. I said, nah, not so much. I don't think I'm gonna do it. And no, I'm not kidding you. My friends, it was like an intervention. And they made me do this.
Guy didn't see himself as a TV star. He simply wanted to be a chef and restaurant owner. He spent his high school years in France receiving world-class training in classical techniques, pastry arts, and contemporary cuisine. In 1996, he launched his culinary career with the opening of Johnny Garlic's, his first restaurant based in his hometown of owner. He spent his high school years in France receiving world-class training in classical techniques, pastry arts, and contemporary cuisine. In 1996, he launched his culinary career with the opening of Johnny Garlic's, his first restaurant based in his hometown of Santa Rosa, California. Within 4 years, he opened 2 more locations. He was content with his career, but just to shut his friends up, Guy filmed an unscripted, unedited tape of him preparing what he called the Jackass Sushi Roll and submitted it to the Food Network.
Hi, I'm Guy Fieri, and welcome to Sonoma County, California, home of true wine country cuisine. Today I'm going to prepare a dish for you, not in fusion, but in confusion. I'm going to do a gorgonzola tofu sausage terrine that will be served over a mildly poached ostrich egg. Now, since we're in the wine country, I'll be serving that on grape nuts, and done with a delicious pickled herring mousse right on top. And, oh, I know, delicious. It sends shivers up my spine.
Even though Guy treated this like a joke, he was a natural in front of the camera, and the casting director at the Food Network could see his potential star power. But when Guy got the call from the Food Network, he didn't believe it.
Is this serious? She goes, yeah. She goes, there'll be a
Never in
contract
my
in New York
life.
tomorrow morning. We FedExed it. So they get it, and I read it, and I'm like, this is horrible. They want my life. So I sent it to an attorney buddy of mine. He looked at it. He goes, yeah, you're signing life away on this one.
Despite knowing that this was a horrible deal, Guy signed the aggressive contract. Maybe he thought he wouldn't win the competition show. Maybe he was just trying to make a little extra money. He didn't realize it at the time, but he essentially just sold his soul to a network that was going to own him for the next 2 decades. The big game is almost here, and sadly, I'm a New York Giants fan, so there's no way I'm rooting for the Eagles. I think Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs take the W for the first season. Each episode featured the chef preparing creative, flavorful dishes, often in inspired by his love for comfort food, grilling, and global cuisines. Ratings were high, and executives loved the show, so they immediately took advantage of their contractual agreements with Guy.
If you get 6, it's okay. That's how I started on Food Network. 6 guys, big bite, that was it. Get 13, that's pretty good. They order up 26, you're gangster. If they order up 52, they own you. I mean, so they have us down for 104.
Considering Guy's Big Bite is still releasing new seasons almost 20 years later, it's safe to say the Food Network has him locked in. And the crazy part is, that's not even his most successful show. The Food Network cherished Fieri's contributions so much that they pitched to him another television series, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, which is also referred to as Triple D. The show features a road trip concept that celebrates America's diverse and vibrant food culture by spotlighting small, independently owned eateries across the country. Each episode, Guy visits multiple restaurants within a single city or multiple cities to sample the food that corresponds to the episode's theme. The series is similar in nature to Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares. However, while Ramsay helped businesses implement new strategies to combat poor management, subpar food quality, lack of cleanliness, or outdated menus, Fieri acts more like a food critic, looking to celebrate the great food these chefs have created and encourage his millions of viewers to dine in and support the restaurants. Triple D became the Food Network's top-rated show almost immediately. Due to Fieri's growing popularity, the Food Network made Guy a co-host of Ultimate Recipe Showdown. He became a New York Times bestseller with the release of his 2 Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives books, and became the spokesperson for the national restaurant chain TGI Fridays. He was selling millions of dollars in merchandise like his Knuckle Sandwich sweatbands and Culinary Gangsta t-shirts. Guy was absolutely exploding in fame and fortune. He got an unexpected shout out while watching Billy's absolutely exploding in fame and fortune. He got an unexpected shout out while watching Billy Joel perform at Shea Stadium. Joel was just leaning into Innocent Man when he stopped between verses and squinted into the crowd. "Hey, you're that chef guy from TV. I like you." Pointing at Fieri, he said, "Say hi to my wife. She's a chef too. Just don't get too friendly though." He cooked with the chairman of the PGA and the governor of Mississippi, was named the Grand Marshal of multiple NASCAR events, cooked for the US Navy troops in the Persian Gulf, and he even cooked for the president at the White House. This was an absolute takeover. Guy Fieri was everywhere, and culinary fans were sick and tired of him being shoved in their faces. The Food Network typically featured a diverse
nigga going up and then you trying to
range of chefs with varying culinary expertise, and in 2 short years it became dominated by Guy shows that pretty much unanimously showcased standard American cuisine. This led to an anti-Guy Fieri movement that was about to spiral out of control. One of the biggest critiques Guy has gotten since his rise to fame is his loud persona and over-the-top aesthetic. His spiky bleached hair and bowling shirt combo makes him look like the lead singer of a Smash Mouth cover band. However, Guy suggests that he doesn't get to decide what he wears on screen.
We got the pilot deal for Triple D. They said bring a collared shirt. So I had a Dickies work shirt. It was blue with a gray panel on it.
This
They said
strip is
bring
kind of clean, bro.
a collared shirt.
What it do? Iced out shit, bro. With a
So I had a Dickies work shirt. It was blue with a gray panel in the front of it. Whoever started doing the wardrobe started bringing those kind of shirts around. And that's what they started putting on.
Either he is straight up lying or heavily dedicated to this public image, because Guy has most definitely leaned into his Monster Energy drinking divorced father who doesn't pay child support and loves Nickelback. Monster Energy drinking
20-foot mohawk with pink spike tips, bro.
Divorced father who doesn't pay child support and loves Nickelback aesthetic. His #1 hater, Jillian Madison, seems to think that it's a tacky facade. It's hard to pick one thing. It's pretty much the whole package. The whole bad boy persona is phony. His flip-flops with a skull on them. The sunglasses on the back of his head.
So this old Billy Madison is just a fucking
His 45-year-old punks that hang around with him. But make no mistake, there is an entire market of middle America men who never watched a cooking show show in their life that could now identify with Guy. Susie Fogelson, the head of marketing for the Food Network, explained his appeal. He really resonates with men, Fogelson said, adding that Fieri's primetime shows attract more male viewers than any others on the network. Fieri's aesthetic and palette was nearly a one-to-one recreation of an average middle-aged man you would see at a swanky diner on the outskirts of Dayton, Ohio. But to tie the package together, he also spoke like one. His haters could not stand his corny catchphrases.
Now we're gonna do ham. Each piece we do this to?
Every piece, hand trimmed.
So it's hand-to-ham combat.
That puts the shamalama in ding dong.
He's got whiz bang wow in there. I think I could put this on a flip sham combat.
That puts the shamalama in ding dong.
He's got whiz bang wow in there. I think I could put this on a flip flop. It would taste good.
Cruising down Boring Avenue, hooked a right onto Delicious Boulevard.
Most iconic Fieriism is Flavortown. In the early seasons of Triple D, Guy said the phrase maybe 5 or 6 times. Somebody makes some big dish and I say, oh, it's like a steering wheel on the bus to Flavortown. The meme took on a life of its own. It was the perfect catchphrase to represent Guy's silly speech. But Fieri yapped so much that he didn't even realize it became such a huge meme.
It's like Flavortown. People come up and bring these, like, Flavortown, I'm the mayor of Flavortown. I'm like, okay. Wow, I didn't even get it at first. I was hearing it, and then Chico, one of our main camera guy on Triple D, he says, Flavortown, you said it in the show. I said, oh, really?
Although catchphrases like holy moly stromboli, this is money, and peace, love, and taco grease seem like nothing more than harmless dad speech, and peace, love, and catchphrases like holy moly stromboli, this is money, and peace, love, and taco grease seem like nothing more than harmless dad speech, to some it made him appear less qualified and lacking sophistication, as if he doesn't know the proper words to describe the flavors and intricacies in the dish, so he just resorts to a rhyme like, they make a porchetta that you won't forget-a.
People ask me that question all the time, like, so do you have someone that writes for you, like that makes up, like when you say something, shamalama, that's like the shamalama ding dong, and they're like, where would one come up with something that stupid? And I'm like, I don't try to make them up. I'm eating it, and I get in that moment.
Saturday Night Live even wrote a 3-minute skit where they shamelessly mocked Guy's image, catchphrases, and credibility.
Set Myers, setting fires.
Oh, I don't set fires.
Oh, it's on like Donkey Kong.
Okay. Look, why don't we just get started?
All right, good call, Meatball. All right.
This SNL skit drastically increased the amount of hate Guy would receive, leading to multiple public controversies. It almost seemed like a calculated attack was orchestrated to bring down the mayor of Flavortown. Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives was produced by Page's Productions, owned and operated by David Page. In early 2011, Page sued the Food Network for breach of contract after the network abruptly canceled orders for 2 seasons of the show. The network countersued and claimed that Page violated his contract by not meeting deadlines, turning in incomplete work, and mistreating staff, sending email messages that said things such as, I hope you can die so I can dance on your effing grave. The lawsuit was settled and Triple D got a new production company. Page was interviewed by the Minnesota Star-Tribune where he blamed Fieri for his dismissal. Guy worked for more than a year to try to get the network to take the show away from me and give it to another production company, where presumably he would be in control. He wanted to be the person making all the decisions, even though the decisions I had been making created a remarkably successful show and had done wonders for his career. Then David did another interview with City Pages describing Fieri as an anti-Semitic, homophobic, lecherous giant tool. Page made shocking allegations about Guy's behavior. Anytime any woman mentioned cream, Guy went to a sexual riff. When cutting the show, you had to tell the editors to watch Guy's eyeline, because it's always on breasts. Fieri also needed protection from homosexuals, or at least advance warning. Early in the show's run, Page got a phone call from Fieri who just walked out of a restaurant in a huff. Guy had decided that the 2 men running the restaurant were life partners. He said, "You can't send me to talk to gay people without warning." In regards to a copyright dispute over work done for the television show that Fieri wanted to use in his books, they were demanding tremendous research from my people and pictures, but they didn't want to pay for it. Guy said to me, "You know, it's true. Jews are cheap. To the people that were preying on Guy's downfall for all these years, this is exactly what they're looking for. They knew something was up with him, they knew he was actually a bad person, and this allegation justified that belief. But others felt that Page's allegations seemed like him seeking revenge over a lost lawsuit and losing his job. If David was so concerned and appalled by Guy's behavior, why did he produce the show for years? Why was he trying to renew his contract? Why did he wait until he got fired to say something? Regardless, the narrative that Guy Fieri was homophobic spread like wildfire. And although he never addressed these allegations, some people changed their mind about them in 2015. After Florida's Supreme Court lifted the state ban on same-sex marriage, celebrity chef Art Smith hosted an event that offered 101 free weddings to same-sex couples, and Guy Fieri officiated all 101 of those weddings. To add fuel to the Fieri fire, one of his other biggest haters, author and chef Anthony Bourdain, took every opportunity he could to troll and criticize Guy.
When was the last time you remember just like laughing till you cried, screaming laughing?
Guy Fieri's tweet that he was on his way to a Nickelback concert. That was like the funniest fucking thing. Of course.
To some chefs and critics, Guy seemed to be making a spectacle out of a beautiful, age-old craft. Bourdain was just bold enough to say how he actually felt. I look at Guy Fieri and I just think, Jesus, I'm glad that's not me. You work that hard and there's not a single show of yours that you'd want to sit down and say, hey, I made that last week. Look at that camera work. It's really good, huh? I'm proud of what I do. Then Fieri's $200,000 Lamborghini Gallardo was stolen from the dealership while undergoing maintenance, to which, of course, Bourdain had to poke fun at him on Twitter and act like it was he who stole the Lamborghini. Bourdain was also very quick to criticize Guy's gigantic 500-seat
money back for that because that shit at the dealership, bro.
Restaurant in the heart of Times Square, Guy's American Kitchen and Bar. He described it as a terror dome.
I'm fascinated by the Guy Fieri Terror Dome they just opened.
Oh wait, no.
600 seats, something like that, and a gift shop. And all of these poor diners, drives, and whatever douchebags waddle in there. You know, first of all, he single-handedly turned the neighborhood into the Ed Hardy district, which I'm a little pissed off about, right? But all of these poor bastards, they see him eating cheap food on TV. They go in there. It's like what, $18 for a hamburger? You know, the French fries are like 12.
However, this critique from Anthony was extremely mild compared to the absolute mauling Guy would receive from esteemed food critic Pete Wells, who wrote a scathing review that would significantly hurt Guy's reputation. Published by the New York Times, this article was written from the perspective of a baffled customer questioning how any restaurant, let alone one of a world-famous chef, would serve such horrible food. Pete asks questions directly to Guy in a sarcastic tone. Hey, did you try that blue drink? The one that glows like nuclear waste? The watermelon margarita? Any idea why it tastes like some combination of radiator fluid and formaldehyde? How did Louisiana's blackened Cajun spice treatment turn into the ghostly nubs of unblackened, unspiced white meat in your Cajun chicken Alfredo? Somewhere within the yawning 3-level interior of Guy's American Kitchen and Bar, is there a long refrigerated tunnel that servers have to pass through to make sure that the French fries, already limp and oil-sogged, are also served cold? And when we hear the words donkey sauce, which part of the donkey are we supposed to think about? Pete mentioned 15 different items on the menu and described nearly all of them as inedible. Now it's easy for me to understate just how vicious this review was. Larry Olmsted of Forbes called Wells's assessment of Fieri's restaurant the most scathing review in the history of the New York Times, and likely the most widely read restaurant review ever. The review became national news. Guy flew to New York to respond to the article on NBC's morning show.
Do we strive to be the best? Yes. What he saw, I mean, to me, it's impossible to come in and have a dining experience and have every single thing wrong, unless you come in with a different agenda and you want to sensationalize something and you want to blow it out of the water. It's a great way to make a name for yourself. Go after a celebrity chef that's not a New Yorker, that's to a big conference
no one
concept in
gives
the
a fuck
second
because
month.
they just
Great
want
way to
to
hit it.
get
And-
attention.
Now, Fieri saying
They
that
don't
Pete
really
was trying to make a name for himself is
Give a
foolish,
fuck.
because Wells is considered one of the most credible food reviewers according to world-class chefs. However, Guy does make a solid point about having an agenda. The Guy Fieri hate was at an all-time high in 2011 and 2012, making it the perfect time to slam dunk on him with this harsh review. Then again, it's not surprising to think that a 3-story, 500-seat restaurant in Times Square serves subpar food, to which Andrew Zimmern, chef and TV personality, makes a really good point about Guy receiving deserved criticism.
So when he does a 500-seat restaurant in Times Square, New York City, the most important food city in the world, you are saying, look at me, look at me, look at me. Not only is Wells obligated to review
Point about Guy receiving deserved criticism.
So when he does a 500-seat restaurant in Times Square, New York City, the most important food city in the world, you are saying, look at me, look at me, look at me. Not only is Wells obligated to review it, he owes us that. Because so many millions of people out there are going to say, hey, I should, when I'm in New York, I should go there.
Shortly after this review was published, footage of Guy
When I'm in New York, I should go there.
Shortly after this review was
not a hair
published,
on your head,
footage
bro.
of Guy fist-fighting his hairdresser was leaked to the public. It seemed like his all-out downward spiral was in full effect. Then in January 2016, a restaurant inspection uncovered a variety of flies throughout the restaurant in Times Square. The report said, filth flies include house flies, little house flies, blow flies, bottle flies, and flesh flies. Food and sewage associated flies include fruit flies, drain flies, and phorid flies. That's 8 different types of flies living in the restaurant, which is usually a sign of filthy and unsanitary conditions. The restaurant closed on December 31st, 2017.
Having flies in your shit is
That's
crazy. That is crazy. But this all went into every single fly, bro. What the fuck is a flesh fly? What the fuck is a bottle fly?
Associated
the fuck is a blow fly?
Flies
The fuck
include
is a
fruit
little
flies,
house fly?
drain flies, and phorid flies. That's 8 different types of flies living in the restaurant, which is usually a sign of filthy and unsanitary
just say
conditions.
flies, bro.
The restaurant
Motherfuckers will
closed
get
on
the
December
restaurant is
31st,
dirty. Don't need to go
2017.
into
There
all
are
this
still
different
several
shit.
Guy Fieri's American kitchen and bars open in the US and even more internationally. However, most of them are drowning in poor reviews. Internationally,
tutorial.
however, most of them are drowning in poor reviews. Fieri also decided to shut down his Johnny
I know
Garlic's
that.
restaurant chain after opening 7 locations and being in business for 19 years. Bourdain took his opportunity to jab at Guy whenever he could. In an interview with Atlanta Magazine, he said, "So I sort of feel in a heartfelt way for Guy. I wonder about him. He's 52 years old and still rolling around in the flame outfit. What does he do? How does Guy Fieri de-douche?" After all these years, Fieri finally gave Bourdain a heated response in a GQ interview. "I don't like him making fun of people, and I don't like him talking shit, and he's never talked shit to my face. I know he's definitely gotta have issues, cause the average person doesn't
Never talk
behave
shit
that
to your
way.
face."
But Guy never changed who he was. He didn't care to appease Michelin star chefs, critics, or internet trolls. He took his failures in stride, kept opening new restaurants, and focused on his friends and family.
Yeah.
In 2017, the hate for Guy Fieri seemed
And they
to
still
do
hating
a
on
full
them
180, which
motherfuckers.
started
They
after
shout to Guy
Shane Torres
Fieri,
went on Conan O'Brien's show and shifted the public's perception on Guy in a 4-minute stand-up performance.
Can someone please explain to me what the hell Guy Fieri ever did to anyone? People shit on that dude all the time. And as far as I can tell, all he ever did was follow his dreams.
Tight shit.
Goes around the country to small businesses and gives them free advertising on a national platform on a weekly basis.
shit.
Advertising those small businesses could never afford themselves with his own television show. But because his hair looks like he was electrocuted while drinking Mountain Dew, People act like we need to saw his head off and put it on the internet.
Shane then goes on to list off a ton of incredible things Guy has done for the world. He invites Make-A-Wish families to every one of his Food Network show tapings. He started the Cooking with Kids charity that has helped over 20,000 kids learn their way around the kitchen since 2010. In 2017, he cooked meals for 5,000 evacuees per day in a makeshift kitchen during one of California's worst wildfires in history. Guy said to a makeshift kitchen during one of California's worst wildfires in history. Guy said to a reporter, "I'm not promoting anything. I'm just here cooking. This is feeding people. People need help, and I'm here to help. That's it." During the 2020 pandemic, he started a Restaurant Employee Relief Fund, a partnership with the National Restaurant Association, which raised $21.5 million to help support more than 43,000 restaurant employees across all 50 states. Through his Guy Fieri Foundation, he is constantly cooking and raising money for veterans, first responders, Little League baseball teams, local businesses, people with cancer, kids who want to attend culinary school. The list of charitable contributions.
There's so many motherfuckers out in the world that you could be hating on. And motherfuckers be hating on
from
this
Guy
guy.
Fieri is endless,
No,
which reminds us that his brand new 3-year, $100 million deal he recently signed with the Food Network will be put to good use. It also reminds us that he's still extremely popular and people love his shows. The people who loved Guy felt that the haters were just so focused on his aesthetic that they assumed he couldn't simply be a good person with a loud personality. And at this point, pretty much everyone agrees that hating on Guy Fieri is just unnecessary. So now we can all relax and enjoy the memes inspired by the mayor of Flavortown.
Hey, shout out to Patrick CC, bro. Shout out to Guy Fieri, bro. Fire video.